I'd love to welcome you to Master Your Life, Beyond the Boardroom podcast, a place for ambitious individuals to capture proud moments on who they've become. It's a discussion that finds insights, the highs and the lows on where they have been at stages in their life. A safe space to share and openly talk about their journey. So if you're on a journey yourself and you're wanting to stretch, go further and farther than you've ever thought was possible, mastering your life is something that will connect you with your identity. I'm excited to be welcoming some very interesting guests to add value to your journey. For more information and to stay in the loop on what Master Your Life is all about and gain more value, head over to www.master-your-life.co.uk. Subscribe to my newsletter and stay in the loop. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Master Your Life Beyond the Boardroom. I am your podcast host, Luke, and I have an insane guest today. He was just saying behind the scenes, I'm a lord, I've not got a title, and I'm actually, do you know what? He actually runs fantastic businesses and builds amazing communities, and he's not got a title. This is going to be interesting because, do you know what? Kallum, we actually met through a mutual friend, and he's invited us into his community, which I'm actually excited to see what it's all about. And do you know what? He's just recently come back from a beautiful country, South Africa. He's a traveler, he's a businessman, he's a community builder, he's a lord, he's got everything going. He runs a business called TUGA that really focuses on processes and automations. I mean, obviously, we're not going to keep talking about that. We're going to really get to know Kallum in his own raw story today. So, Kallum, welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me. I need you to write my dating profile. That was a pretty good introduction, and I'm happy with that. That was good.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you normally say then? Thank you. Anyway, what do you normally say? People say, what do you do? Tell me more about yourself.
Genuinely, I do say that we run an agency that focuses on processes, automations, AI, basically growing people's businesses on the internal aspect, not by sales. So when you say growth, people think sales, and I'm like, but you can get more sales. That don't mean you physically grow. If anything, you can bottleneck, you can do anything. So we focus on all the internal stuff, which is the processes and automate.
Yeah, that's really good. So when did you, I guess, find that was something that you was going to go into specifically?
Well, it was an accident.
Okay.
Let's start there. So I ran a retail business for a couple of years, a physical in-person retail business, wasn't e-commerce, and back in Hull, where I'm from. When I was doing that, I was getting loads of public speaking gigs because I was like the new kid on the block, and it's when Hull was city of culture, and it was an eco-friendly business, and it just ticked loads of boxes. And then I was like, oh, okay, maybe I can get something from this. Maybe this business is going to grow. Googled, what do you need to learn if you're growing a business? Because GPT wasn't a thing. And it said, get a CRM. Didn't know what that was. So I learned HubSpot, just the free version. I was like, okay, this seems cool. Don't need it yet, but it seems cool. Started going networking for more public speaking events. And then, very long story short, literally my first networking event, someone was complaining about her team not being able to manage sales. And I said, oh, well, have you seen HubSpot? No, I've heard of it, but I've not seen it. So I was like, oh, I'll show you it. So she invited me to the office, showed her it, and I fixed the problem, which is what business is, right? It's just fixing problems.
Yeah.
With that, I then was like, what else does this work with? Didn't know what integrations meant. Went and clicked the integrations button, found all the other softwares it worked with, then learned all of them. Apart from Salesforce, because there was no free version on it. It was the only one I didn't learn. And then naturally have you seen this solution? Have you seen that solution? This works with that. This works with that. And I went from this very failing retail business that put me in crippling debt through to this service that I'm now delivering And it just started from tech solutions and showing people how to use them and where you use them in your business. That was it.
Yeah, so this is really good, actually, a good piece to start on, because, you know, how you just said there about you fell into this by accident. Because do you know what? It's kind of, I'm not saying it's fate, or, you know, I know people say, oh, you know, everything happens for a reason, and we know all of that stuff. But the fact is, you put yourself out there. You know, you actually met these people. Again, you kind of heard a problem that someone's saying, just I'll mention this, and it was in conversation, and then I guess led to another. But before we just go back to that, you've now caught my attention because you'd spoken about you went into crippling debt with a retail business. So when did that business start for you? How old was you? What happened? What caused the debt? Yeah, tell us a bit about.
I was 22.
Right.
So I've been self-employed 7 years.
Okay.
I'd say the HubSpot thing started happening like 6-7 months into that journey. But I did the retail business for about 18 months. So when I started that, I had a business partner. I took out a loan, purposely just myself, £15,000. And then I woke up one morning, he'd stole half of it and gambled it.
No.
Yeah. So there was £7,500 gone. And then I had to start paying the loan back straight away from taking it out. I'd not even had a business when I took it out at the time. As I had to do that. It was a retail business. I had to buy stock. I had to do that.
Yeah.
And then we started by doing markets and events like these boutique fairs and makers markets and all things like that.
Yeah.
Which was great, but they're actually very costly because of pitch fees. So we didn't have a shop to begin with until we found one. So there was all these things. And the location we went to was perfect, but the marketing was atrocious. I'd never done marketing before, but I was lucky that what we did do worked. Then I had to pay myself. I had bills to pay. I had to buy more stock. I didn't understand cash flow. I didn't know anything about capital. I've not been, no offense to my parents, I've not been brought up with any financial literacy at all. And I personally do believe that if you do not know how to control your finances when going into business, you will ruin your business's finances. Mm-hmm. I think everyone needs to learn that before they go in, or at least make it one of the first things they learn whilst doing it, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
And to this day, I'm still not brilliant, but I know enough now. I can educate more people from the mistakes I learn. And then because of that, then I had to get credit on stockist accounts to be able to order stock because we didn't have the cash flow for it. So this debt just kind of started coming from this first business, basically.
Yeah.
All starting from that money being stolen out bank.
That's crazy. I mean, what was you thinking in that moment when you woke up and you'd seen that 15 go to 7.5? What was the hard conversation you had to have?
Firstly, the first hard conversation was with his housemate he lived with after I put a brick through the window to open the door and break in the apartment.
What days?
Yeah. Because he wouldn't answer his phone because he was a night owl. He did night shifts.
Right.
So the reason I picked him as a business partner, to clarify, he ran businesses in the past, small businesses, and sold them successfully. I did do my due diligence on that. I got friends to look at that.
Okay.
That was all legit.
Yeah.
So he was coming in with previous business experience on just business, funny, cash flow, things like that. Whereas I had the brain for the concept, what was going to sell, how I wanted to market it, and everything like that. That's why I brought him in. He was also my best mate, I should probably pitch. He was also my best mate as well. And then broke into his apartment, woke him up, and I just basically said what happened. The caveat with it is after all that, I forgave him pretty much straight away. The reason why, money was gone. I couldn't see anything for it. I couldn't see a new car on the drive. I couldn't see anything of this stuff. And it was probably one of the healthiest things I did for myself, which was I forgave him straight away. Because otherwise, don't think I would have trusted anyone romantically, personally, friendship, anything for the rest of my life. So I just kind of had to go, as my dad says, chalk it up to experience. I just had to take it. The money was gone. There was nothing I could do for it. So so that was mainly the main thing I did. The bit, if anything, that came from it, kind of pivoting from your question, but the main bit that came from it is I do have anxiety around money when business isn't doing very well. And I know lots of people go, oh, I have anxiety around money. I think it's because I kind of go back into this fight or flight that I did do, because I went probably 4, because after 2 years of starting in 2018, COVID happened.
Yeah.
So it's like, I was just getting back on my feet, then all that happened. So I kind of had like 3 attempts. It's only really been the last 18 months of living in Manchester. Business has got good. Okay. And I've been doing this now for nearly 7 years.
Wow.
So it's like, it's taken a lot of stuff because of all the pitfalls through it. So in that moment, genuinely, other than putting a brick through his window to break into his house and forgiving him, genuinely not much else really went through my brain, if I'm honest.
No, but I think the fact that you put a brick through his window, I'm not being funny, but I was actually sat here going, oh my days. But then again, when you said he's your best mate, completely understand. But At the same time,
it's only because I couldn't get in the house.
oh, well, I know.
It was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, because the thing is, I don't know why. I had a partner at the time. I just woke up. And I just checked the bank. I just checked it, and it was just gone. And I was like, so once again, whether the universe puts it there for you or not, I literally just woke up and, let me check business, blah, 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 and checked it. Because I think, if I remember correctly, I gradually saw bits of money kind of going out, but everything had a reason. And I think it kind of played on my brain. And then when I officially looked at the bank, I saw how much had gone. Yeah, it was kind of that. But yeah, I went through the window, like, don't get me wrong, I paid the landlord the £50 to put the glass pane back in. I was a good egg. I actually knew the landlord of the property as well, so I was like, there's 50 quid, sorry for the window. But yeah, no, so don't worry, people, I've not broken any laws.
No,
it's all been sorted. Yeah. It's all been fine.
No, it's good honesty though. I do like it.
But yeah, no, honestly, yeah, put a brick through the window, broke into his room, woke him up.
So no, that's really interesting. So as well, now you've just shared some real big gold here, Kallum, because we live in a world, don't we, today, where everything we want instant gratification. If we are going to believe in something, I guess, comfortable behind, I'm relating to the audience here because I do get messages from guys going, I'm really scared to leave my job behind. It's not what I really want to do for 20, 30, 40 years of my life, but I am really scared because, again, the anxiety around money is one thing. So you shared that you had really been struggling for 5 years out of the 7, or maybe not seeing it as a good thing. So for you now, looking back on your so far 7-year self-employed journey, what have you learned the most about yourself in business?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think that's where he was going with that question. Learn about myself. It might sound like a negative thing, but also a positive thing. I always, for some reason, try and not reinvent the wheel, but try and make a better version of it when there's no reason to. We see so many people, especially, I don't work in marketing, but I work with a lot of marketers. And you see a lot of marketers that are trying to do something different. I'm like, but why? Because these people are doing it and thousands of people are doing it because it works. I'm not saying you can't put your spin on things, but you're trying to completely go against it because you really want to stand out. But actually, where you are at the moment, that is not the right thing to do. You're not in a place where you can make that decision, completely change how everything works. And that's what I was trying to do for 6 years. Not 5 years, 6. I was trying to do that up until really business started to get good for me. That's when I stopped doing it, could do my spin and went, wait a minute, this works for everyone else. Why am I not doing it? And when you look at it, normally it's the foundational element and then everyone else is built on top of that. So if you look at anyone, once again using marketers as an example, they've all got the same foundation of how their business works and what it does. Then they've put their own thing on top. I think for me, it was stop trying to do the same thing differently when the way it already works for a reason. And that was probably one of the biggest things I learned about myself. And now I help clients not do that. I don't do it myself. Well, I'm about to do outbound sales for 2025 for the first time ever in business. I've never done outbound sales.
Right.
But now, because I've done it with clients, I've seen clients do it. I know people that do it. We have a lot of mutual connections. I've seen them do it.
Yeah.
I've never done it because it was never for me. And I went, but wait, it works for them. So why not try it? There's a blueprint on how to do this. Try it. If I don't do it, I already know the outcome. And that was my thing. So basically just don't try and go against the blueprint that is a proven method of things working was probably the biggest thing I learned for myself. And when you do it, it works. Probably a different answer for what you was wanting, but yeah, I didn't know I had ADHD until the 2021-ish.
Right, okay.
So that would have answered a lot of questions, maybe why I did things a certain way. But genuinely, that is the biggest thing. If I look back now, genuinely, with what I know now with that in mind, I probably wouldn't run the business I run now. I probably would have launched a marketing business back in 2019, and all the content I was consuming was explaining how to do it. And now I work with all these marketing businesses. It's all how they do it. So I've now seen it. Why didn't I just do that? Basically.
Okay, this is good though, and you answer the question. So, what was the resistance coming up for you then in that period to go against that?
Be different, stand out, try and invent the norms. I've had no entrepreneurs around me. No.
Okay.
No one in my family is entrepreneurial. None of my friends where I come from, which is absolutely fine. I'm very proud of it. I come from working class home in Hull, which is known as the worst place to live in the country. Council estate to a single mum. I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. Both parents are hard working. I've known my mum to have 6 jobs at once. My dad's still on minimum wage at this and he's 56, but he's happy with his life.
Yeah.
All I've ever seen is hard work. That's all I've ever seen. I've never seen this other. So for me, it was like, but I want to work hard, but I don't want to have a hard life.
Yes.
So for me, noticing all the other bits, it was like, wait, how can I do this? Is there a shortcut? Is there a different way of doing this? Is there a way I can make this work better for me? The things I did would have worked if I had foundational experience behind me. Like the things I did back then, I didn't have the knowledge I had now. Sounds a bit backwards, but would work now because I've got the authority, I've got the case studies, I've got the experience, I've got all them things now that if I wanted to break the norms, it would work. And technically, my business kind of does. It's like 3 different industries in one. So, and it does work. But if I tried doing this back then, everyone would be like, what? Like, you don't have a clue. Like, what do you mean? So it's definitely that. It was just, I never had anyone around me. So I think I was just trying to find the how to be different, how to stand out. But also I started my business when I was in my early 20s and I definitely had I'm the youngest person in the room and I don't know anything.
Right.
It was also one of the other things as well, I guess. So a lot of people couldn't see it. Until then, I was getting results they weren't getting, even at that age. Even no matter how bad business was, I was getting results they couldn't get. And they was like, how? You've got no experience. I'm like, wing it and find out.
Yeah, this is really good. I mean, there's just putting that out there, Kallum. There's so many bits that I've kind of just taken from that. Which, by the way, what you've just shared, actually, when we go into it a little bit later in this episode, the guys listening, this will make a lot of sense. I guess why you've created what you've created and what's kind of come up. But I want to ask you because do you know what? You've gone against the grain. You've fought adversity, and probably most people, and I believe this in today's generation of society, probably if they would have faced what you faced from such an early age, bloody hard to kind of get back up and fight and keep moving forward. So what stopped you from giving up? Because you had 5-6 years of this grinding back against the wall.
Sick of working for idiots, basically. So my background's hospitality. So I actually went to culinary school.
Okay.
So that was my thing. So up until starting my business, I'd only ever worked in hospitality. Apart from the last job I had before starting the business was a Christmas temp job in a jeweler's. And I loved it. Loved it. That was probably one, because I'd never done retail before. I absolutely adored that job. I think I'm blessed in many cases. Even though I come from where I come from, I've always been pushed to do what I want to do. I've always had driving factors behind me. I'm very blessed with the family and support and everything I've got behind me. I really am. So no, if I'm really honest. And I think maybe knowing I had a fallback if it didn't work. But then a couple of years ago, someone said to me my money mindset was a bit screwed and it tied in with a quote I saw shortly before that, which was, if you come from nothing, you're comfortable with nothing. So my homeostasis is struggling. I'm used to that. I can deal with struggling. So me having a money mindset in business, and I'll probably lead this to something else, but I don't know what it's like to not struggle. Like now I'm discovering that. Up until business was doing well, I didn't know what not worrying paycheck to paycheck or whatever it was, especially starting in business. So for me, if business goes to shit, I don't know if I can swear, but shit now.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, sweet. If business goes to shit now, the worrying thing for me now, which is a good thing because it worries me now, is how comfortable I can go back to nothing. Because I've never had anything. So what I do is now, which is what I'm doing, I know I was talking briefly before about like planning for 2025, is I have to have financial goals and targets, but for things. Because I didn't have materialistic things growing up. So I kind of, to an extent, have to create materialistic goals. So I want to live in Cape Town for 3 months at the end of next year. I don't actually know how to drive yet. I want to get my license.
Yeah.
I've got all these different things that I have to put a financial goal on, and then I've got a target. I can't just make money for the sake of it because I don't understand the reason why. Like, why? What do I need to make this amount of money for? Because I'm comfortable with the amount of money I've got. I can live a life with the money I've got. I don't just need to make more money. So it's kind of like I need to give it a target. That hopefully will change in the coming years, but for now, that's why I need to do that with it. So going back to the original question of like the grind of it and all things like that, I was comfortable with nothing. And I think with that, I had nothing to lose. Yep. I was comfortable. I could go to my parents. And one thing my mum or my dad said to me was, what happens if it doesn't work? I'm like, I'd rather try it in my 20s. Well, I've got no obligations, no children, no mortgage, no car. At the time, no debt, and to try it. And if it don't work by I'm 30, then I'll reconsider it. I was like, give me 10 years. Well, 8 years, because I started when I just turned 22. I was like, all right, so give me 8 years to fail, do whatever I can come. I lived with my dad for most of running my business. I only had my own place for a year before I moved to Manchester. So 2021 to like literally May 2022. Went traveling Europe for a month and then moved to Manchester. And I've lived in Manchester for the last 2.5 years. Yeah, like up until that point, I lived with my dad throughout it all. I was a waiter amongst having a business because I had to. So because of all these different elements, very long-winded answer, I had nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Nothing. So that was it.
Do you know what? That's actually really interesting what you shared there, mate, because obviously we see it a lot. I see it a lot. I'm sure you see it a lot. I think what you've just said there about when you have nothing, you're comfortable with nothing. I've not heard that, but it makes a lot of sense because, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs and successful business owners can come from those kind of backgrounds. Even a lot of people talk about, and I have interviewed guests on here, and not that they've had it handed to them, but they've had family backing where they've run businesses, so they're exposed to that environment. You obviously haven't been exposed to that environment. If anything, yes, you've been exposed to hard work, what that looks like, but not what running a business would look like.
No, I remember my dad when I was staying at his. So back in Hull, in one of the bars, there was a student night. And because I was in my early 20s, I could still get away with going to it. And it was in bars I used to work in. And he used to come in, give me £30. He's like, Kallum, you haven't had a night out and you need to go blow off some steam. Like, here's 30 quid. You remember when you could go on a night out for 30 quid? Brilliant times. That one. I know. Great times. But like, he used to give me like £30 because the night was like pound drinks.
Yeah.
He'd give me it. And my partner at the time, he'd give him some money as well, just like 20 quid. He'd be like, right, you two go have a good night out, blow off some steam, and then you'll be fine. I literally don't come from anything. Only once in my life, and it was post 18 months ago, which will show why I got my head down. My dad helped me out of a bit of money. It's when all the bills went up and everything, cost of living went up. I live in Manchester. Manchester is expensive, blah, blah, blah. They give me some money to pay one of my bills. Because after that, I went, nah, not having this. That was 18 months ago. And that's when I got my head down and went, stop going against the grain, sit down, look at everything, simply sort your shit out. Like, what's going on? You're having to borrow money. My family doesn't have money to lend.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, my parents do watch this. It's not in a negative. They don't have money to lend. So I had to do something about it. So yeah, I've never gone without, but I've never had anything handed to me on a silver platter, especially financially.
Yeah, no, and you can tell that anyway, just from what you're saying. And I think where you just said there about your dad just saying, gosh, go and have a night out is 30 quid. That's mad. Yeah, because it's times about 10 now, mate, if you want a really, really good night.
Like a night out here in Manchester costs like 250 quid.
Easy.
You know what I mean? It's mad. Yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous, mate. Our times change. So, you know, for you then, I'd love to know now that you said you kind of, like 18 months ago, when your dad had lent you some money for some bills and you thought, I've really got to get my shit together. If you can remember, I know it's obviously quite some time ago and a lot shifted since then. What was the first kind of action step you had taken from that moment?
From when I said, get my head down?
Yeah. What was the first thing you started like focusing on?
First of all, sitting down and just going, where am I? Probably first, because I had clients. I'm not going to deny, it's not that I didn't have any clients. Delivering the service I'm doing now, you know, I'm not going to deny that. Also, by that point, so 6 months-ish before that, I just rebranded to TUGA. I was a different name before. So I changed the service, I changed everything. Came into the year great, and then it just went to shit 1 month. Everyone practically left. That's when my dad had to help me. I was like, no, what am I not doing? So I sat down, first of all, where are all my clients up to? Where are all them up to? Am I up to date with all of them? Because right now I can't lose any more clients. I can't do it. So like, where are they all up to? How much is a client worth to me? So if a client was paying me my dream amount a month, which I think back then was only like £1,500 a month, which is not a lot, you know, it's not money to be scoffed at. But I was like, I've got to, even if they're not paying me that, which there wasn't, I've got to treat them at that value. So if I'm earning X amount of clients a month, so let's say I'm making 10 grand a month, I treat every client as if they're paying me 10 grand, and I still do that to this day. So I deliver, if I've got 7.5 grand coming in a month, I treat every client as if they are solely paying me £7,500 a month, because I want to keep that money in my bank. That's the thing I did then. How much do I want to do? Where are they up to? What do I need to do? Then simply sort of strategy out. Where's business up to? Where's this up to? Where's sales up to? Everything like that, and push from it. And asking people around me, like, what have you guys been doing? And if you haven't got anyone around you, find some people on LinkedIn, which is what I did. Also, part of that, I moved to Manchester. I noticed I had no young business friends around me. You know, people that we've talked about, like Ellis. Ellis was one of the first people. So there's a guy called Schwib, and I just found him on LinkedIn. I went, hey, you're in Manchester. I'm not buying shit. I'm not selling shit. I'm just looking to make friends. I've been here 6 months now. I've not really made any mates.
Yeah. Okay.
They went, literally, credit to him, like, yeah, let's go for a drink, man. Like, he introduced me. This is October 2022. And then from that, he then introduced me to Ellis. Ellis was having a social event with all the young people from LinkedIn. Schwab went, you might get an invite. And he was like, but don't plug it. So I was like, okay, so I'm at Ellis for a coffee the day of the event. Mate, what are you doing tonight? Why don't you come along and meet everyone? I went, yeah. sweet. And at this event, I met all the big wigs from LinkedIn, all of the younger big wigs, most of them are still good friends or acquaintances at least. And it was from there where I was like, right, I've got these people around me now. They thought I was doing better than them because of the amount of years I've been in business. And then me being me, I was like, no, guys, you're all doing way better than me. Here's where I'm up to right now. Most of them now have been clients or are clients of mine at some point and stuff like that. So 100%, once again, going back to your question, because all of it leads into something.
Of course it does.
Where's business up to now? Where do I want to be? What strategy have I got? And if you haven't got one, don't be afraid to ask for people. Don't wing it. And don't always just use GBT. Actually, go to how do you sell your business? Like, you can learn something from everyone, even if they're not in your industry. And then look to put some new people around you, especially if you get to that point. The epitome, you're as good as the people around you. People around you at that moment are bad, especially if you've got great people around you, especially very good entrepreneurs. But you need people around you. You need to mix it up, because if them people haven't helped you and you're in this state, in my opinion, you need to hit F5 and refresh some people around you and get some fresh meat. And then be like, my business is going to shit. Could any of you help me, please? Which isn't as scary as you think, because everyone's had a shit time in business at some point.
Yeah, I think that right at the end there is gold, to be honest, because just feel in today's world as well, and LinkedIn especially, if you can show the highs, show the parts of things that are going well. But like what you just said there, the fact that you had sat down, you kind of checked in with yourself, I guess, which is what we can forget about it. We can always chase the future or look into the future, but you just went present moment, right.
Where am I?
Yeah, where am I? What clients have I got? Love the honesty and everything that you've just said there. But one thing that really stood out to me, Kallum, is the fact that you asked for help. I know that sounds very similar. You're like, oh yeah, but a lot of people, even if you're listening to this episode and you've got this business idea or you've got this ambition, are you asking anyone that you know or in a similar field for help, for a bit of guidance or even advice on how they've created that? Because for you, look where that led. It led to you just going, look, I mean, that was funny to be fair. So I ain't selling you any shit. You're not selling me any shit. Can I just make friends?
Literally, I can screenshot the amount of LinkedIn DMs I've meaningfully, and that's not, I copy and paste it, but I don't send it to everyone. But that message is literally verbatim. Hey, name, hope you're good. Just so you know, I'm not buying shit. And I always put buying shit first. Because if you put selling shit, like, yeah, you're going to sell me something. It's like, I'm not buying shit. I'm not selling shit. I'm just here to make new friends. And normally I'll put, you don't look boring. Because I'll send them that message if they don't look boring. So yeah, no, 100%, man. Like, one of the things just while it's in my brain about the people is asking for help. And I said this because I went on this weird free course thing in Holborn Fair starting business. And I remember this person talking about saying capital. It was like a mentorship kind of 3 thing. I went, really sorry, group of 60 odd people, what capital? And he was like, it's like money. It's a bit different, but I'll come explain in a minute. But you know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, get what you're talking about now. 3 other people on my table went, thank God you asked, because we didn't have a clue. The thing I realized is there's no such thing as a stupid question, but there are questions that can make you feel stupid.
Yes.
The reason you don't want to ask them is because you feel stupid asking it. So that's why people don't ask for help. That's why people don't ask the questions. Like SOP, standard operating procedure. I was on a call with a client today and I said it on something. And I went, you don't know what that means, do you? He went, no. I went, you ask me. It means this. And then I showed him an example. He was like, I get what you mean. Doesn't matter how minute it is, but especially if you need help, just ask the question, how do you guys get sales? How do you guys retain clients? How are you delivering it? Like,
yeah.
But doesn't matter what industry they're in.
No, but this is great though. Like, honestly, I'm so glad you've shared this because, I want the guys listening to take value from what you're saying, right? From what you're sharing. But I also want to extract that piece where you had said that then you got introduced to Ellis, obviously, mutual connections now. And he just said, why don't you come to this event? Then what you said was about that you had met these people that you felt an imposter to. They was like, oh, it looks like, because you've been in business all this while, it's everything to go well. But then because you've met these people, chatted to them, they've got to know who you are as a person, they've ended up being clients as a result of that. So what I'm saying is you're putting yourself out there, you're asking for help, you're being real, you're being honest, you're being you. And I just think that, again, too many times today, people are even afraid of doing that. So I'd love to know what's in you, Kallum, to do that? Where did you find this? What made you think to move to Manchester, to just go out and meet these randomers? Because for a lot of people, like you say, it was scary.
Remind me to talk about why I moved to Manchester. But the randomers is my good friend Michelle, who will also probably listen to this. Adore that woman. She's my best friend. She's mid-50s. I'm not going to guess her age because she'll kill me. mid-50s. She's a personal assistant, not a VA. She's done it for 30 plus years in person, not exclusively online. And I put, when I was getting all these public speaking gigs, I don't know how to manage all these bookings. Genuinely, I was getting booked out left, right, centre. It was a bit insane. And don't get me wrong, I'm getting paid like £50 a gig. But for me, 50 quid a gig where you've got no money, you're in crippling debt.
Yeah. Unreal.
So I met her for a coffee. She never billed me. She went, here's how you fix it. And we just hit it off. She went, you need to come networking. So she got me into networking. Since then, to this day, I will honestly say no one ever can out-network me. Ever. The one skill I've absolutely honed in on in business is networking. You think about it with us. Like, literally, no one will ever outdo me on it. In-person networking is where I learned it. In person, I don't dominate a room. Luckily, my mum's brought us up with family house parties and things like that. So my mum has this phrase, which is be chatty. So we go to a family event or celebration or a wedding, and it's very devil wears Prada. And my mum's like, you see Auntie Joan over there, right? She's just got a new dog. Go be chatty with Auntie Joan. And then it's like this bit, go talk to them. And it's just be chatty. And if there's someone really quiet, there's the phrase, which is be extra chatty. So I think from my mum bringing us up like that, I'm fine. I still struggle in a heavily male-dominated room. I just do.
Okay.
But networking is the reason why. And then going back to like the LinkedIn bit, I actually got asked to go on a panel. And everyone wondered how I got on this panel because out of all these LinkedIn people, I don't have the followers, I'm the underdog, blah, blah, blah. And the panel was about social selling. And I said, there's a bit you're all missing, which is social. I said, and you're all talking about online, none of you talking about offline. As soon as I said it, I got the most questions because no one in that room would network because they didn't think it was worth the time. And I was like, I've built some of the best friendships ever. And now I personally believe it is very rare to walk into an in-person networking event in this country where I'm not one person away from that room. Like, because everyone just knows me as Kallum with a K. Everyone just knows me as that. So that's where it came from networking, gift the gab, but actually really wanting to get to know people, like actually caring and getting to know people. And then there's a spin on this. I actually thought of, we've found CRM for HubSpot. Can I make one for networking? So I just designed a tool, like a nurturing thing. I call it an NRM, Network Relationship Manager. Who have I met? Where did I meet them? When did I last chat to them? Do they have a pet goldfish that's got a pet dog with 3 legs? Like, I write that on it. Birthdays, holidays, everything. And then I just started building relationships like that, and I just naturally now do it.
Yeah.
So all of that came from that. So there's that bit. And then moving to Manchester, I decided, my family and I always thought I'd move to London. And it was during COVID. I was watching a TV program based in Manchester. I'd never been to Manchester. I knew a few people that had moved here. And I looked at my partner at the time and just went, I'm moving to Manchester after COVID. He went, well, why not? Like, I've got nothing to lose. And it's because of the retail business and the public speaking, no one in Hull could ever see me into what I was becoming.
Right.
So I'd outgrown Hull. My business had outgrown Hull. I just outgrew it. I love Hull. I'm very proud to be from Hull. So Manchester seemed the next best place. And that is why when it came here, I had 6 months of no friends because I only knew one person who is now my best mate who I now live with. That's all. That's the only person I knew. And he's not self-employed. So that's why when it got to the 6-month mark, I was like, I need some friends. I've got none. So literally from watching a TV program and realizing I outgrew Hull and could never grow my business in what I wanted it to be whilst there.
That's insane, and I completely can relate to the outgrowing part, but the fact that you would then follow through on that commitment, you said it, you followed through with it. I love the confidence behind the skill of, no one can kind of out-network you and stuff like that. So I know this is kind of really going back in time, Kallum, with a K. But when you go back to like your childhood, or I know obviously you had an upbringing where your family loved you, it's like you got a big family as well. What was it like for you as a kid growing up? Did you always have this like outspoken confidence? Was you chatty? Because obviously you're talking about all this stuff. I'd just love to know if there's any sort of resemblance or anything's marrying up to where you are today.
How far back do you want me to go? Do you want me to tell you where I probably think it started?
Go back to where it started, I think. That'd be a good place.
So personally as a kid, I don't think I was that outgoing. In my family I was, but out of it. So during high school, I got bullied throughout high school. I came out as gay when I was 12.
Right, okay.
So I literally came out in year 7.
Yeah,
that I was gay. I was like, I'll get it out of the way. I was blessed with my family with that as well. Like, I've got no sob stories with that. Like, once again, absolute blessed. So all that stuff, personality-wise, I think it's just been adapted or adopted from my family. think it's just natural upbringing of how my family's brought me up. Weirdly being brought up, I was obsessed with charity shops. There is a point to this, I promise you.
Oh, wait.
So I was obsessed with charity shops. And during the summer holidays, Antiques Roadshow, Hagging Hunt, absolutely obsessed. Because coming up from no money, my mum used to take us around charity shops.
Right.
So, and we still do. I love a charity shop there. And at my corner shop, there was an old lady called Pat that worked there. And I was in paper about this thing. And she mentioned once she was the secretary of this charity. Really small charity. They had one charity shop, which was also the office and everything like that. And she went, why didn't you come volunteer on a Saturday? I was like, oh, okay. I did that from 13, every weekend and every half term up until 17. Then I got my first job at college. So then I helped out whenever I could, right up until when I was 23, which was 10 years after, which is when the charity dissolved after COVID, or during COVID, 23, 24. So I volunteered at this charity shop. Genuinely, I got them on eBay, I got them on Facebook, stuffed in right the same way. The filing system, we started a junior newsletter because we had a normal newsletter. I was like, all these families have got kids, let's get a junior one going. Sponsorships, help them rewrite contracts, like just winging it, just like contracts did look right to me. I'm like, you're missing this, you're missing that. Fundraising, everything. And it was a dog charity, so I also helped them rescue dogs, rehome them, absolute thing. So I personally believe so much of my knowledge on how my brain works comes from 3 80-year-old women. If I'm really honest, that's where I think a lot of it. Val and Pat, who is still to this day in my life, and they moved house to live around the corner from my dad in Hull.
Nice.
I'm like their adopted son. I'm seeing them on Sunday, like adore them. There's so much from that. And the point that proves this, so now I was at college, 16, 17. Val rings me. She was like, we're speaking at an event near you at college. And it's actually about younger people and getting them into voluntary work to help them get off the streets and crime and so forth. And how can you entice them to work at charities? So I was like, yeah, I'll come after college. So I went, and Val gets asked to go on stage. Val's an elderly, heavy lady, shall we say, with a walking stick. And she goes on the stage. Literally, she picked a walking stick up and pointed at me across the room and said, all I'm going to start with is if that boy doesn't have his own business by the age of 30, even if I'm dead, I'll come back and find out why. Literally what she said, word for word. So everyone around me kind of expected me to do it, I think, or knew I would. And I think it came from that, and she said, she was like, it's how to do contracts, fundraising, social media, the website, this, that, and the other. Just learn it all from there. And then my first accountant with my first business was their accountant for the charity. They became my first accountant because I knew her.
Yeah.
They helped me move the shop because they had a van. They helped me move all my stock for the shop when I had to do it. And yeah, I volunteered for that dog rescue, I'd say full-time from 13 to 17 and then part-time from 17 to 23.
That's great that you've just shared that. I think that's a really good piece that you've shared, because that's where when you talk about those contracts, sponsorships, newsletter, all of that stuff, though, at such a young age as well. I mean, let's be honest, that's been a massive catalyst to help you where you are today. I mean, we was talking a couple of months ago about, obviously, we'll get onto this very soon, about the community that you're building, right? But with young business owners. So it's all the things you said. I couldn't find any young business owners where I was. Cha-ching. And it's like, yeah, now we're going to get sponsorships in for this community. We're going to be collaborating. Cha-ching. It all kind of like the dots connect, which I think is brilliant. But the fact that, you did that voluntary, right, at such a young age.
Literally, for half term, I would spend every day of my half term, apart from the Sundays because they were shut, I'd be in that charity shop.
So what did you love most about it? That whole charity experience?
At the time, I don't think I processed the charity bit. I didn't actually do it because it was rewarding to do charity, if I'm really honest.
Okay.
The hobby. Just loved it. It was just a hobby. Honestly, driving around with Val in the van, like with Valerie, good old Valerie. But literally, there's a podcast where I'm on where it's like the phrase became "Be more Val." Love that woman. Like, she used to, like I say, she wasn't 80 then. She was like 60 something. But she's like pushing me over fences to rescue dogs, driving through the countryside. Yeah, just like the memories I've got, I can never ever. So far in my life, I think until maybe I have children, do I have better memories of anything? Absolutely all of it. And I think that was it. It was just a hobby, like the shop, rearranging it and having the confidence to call out shoplifters or the respect of people. Because at the end, once I got older, I was the man of the shop. No matter if I was a teenager or not, it was either me or 60, 70-year-old women. That was it. Like it was one or the other. Learned how to do cash there using the till system. And I'd not used the till for 3 years. And I'd popped in one day, I think it was on one of the last weekends. And I just hopped on the counter and went, I'll go have a cup of coffee. Still knew how to use the till. Still knew how to run everything through. Just learned loads from it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, obviously for you, yeah, you're probably right. To process the charity experience or anything like that at such a young age, probably, like you say, didn't click. But obviously, you've got a lot of love for Val. And I think it's the people as well and the things that you were doing and stuff. But I can also see it's been such a foundation for obviously what you're doing today, which I think is brilliant. Just to talk about, like to bring this to a bit of a summary on this part of your journey, I guess, what has been the toughest part of this journey so far that probably you haven't shared for a while?
Oh, I'm sure I can talk about it. I publicly do talk about it a lot. A couple of years into the first couple of years of my business, my dad had a mental health episode and tried ending his life.
Okay.
And I stopped him doing it. So he's great now, by the way, people. He's great. He's happy. He's lovely, happy, healthy. Like it does for anyone. Because there's no sub-story. I'm one of the blessed ones once it didn't happen. You know what I mean? But the day that happened, I literally rang my mum. She came, my parents are together, separated. Mum came in the morning. She looks after him. My dad still sent me to the networking event I had that day. He went, I'm fine, go to the networking event. He still sent me to it. He was like, no matter what, he said, the one thing you can do for me today is go to that event. I was like, okay. So I went. That Michelle I was on about, she was there. She went, you all right? Took her to the side, told her. She went, oh, okay. By the way, that day I had 3 networking events. Decided to do 3 networking events till I went home. The one thing that did was completely change my attitude to people, which I now say I'm politely blunt. I've always spoken my mind, very charismatic. But now, especially with business and founders of this or that, I now don't have the energy for it. And I think a lot more people need to be. And this might not sound like the hardest thing, but the hardest thing is being like that following that event. So that event was difficult, but how it changed me, I had to then relearn how to navigate business with this new personality, really, because I just mentally shifted. And since then, that has then become one of my biggest strengths. Because everyone knows I'll always speak my mind, what I think. I won't blow smoke up their ass. I'll sit down and call the client and went, you're doing it this way because the way you've been doing it is shit. It was like, you pay me to do a job. You want to keep doing it your way or do you want to do it my way? So that's to be blunt. It was like, yeah, we'll do it your way. I went, great. I'm not saying my way is right, but we need to do something different. So that was probably one of the hardest things. Yeah, that was. But I'm great now with it. I definitely affected my mental health for a few years, I think. Like, for a few years. But now he's great. Life saw the party. Well, he's not. He's a massive introvert. I'm nothing like him. But he's a good egg. I adore him. But that definitely was probably other than money's money. Whatever happens to the business planet, money's money.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, in debt. The way I saw, by the way, anyone with debt and crippling debt, whether he takes advice or not, but just to reassure your mind of something, owing friends money is more important than companies in my mind, depending on how big the company is. So I borrowed money off friends. I always wanted to pay my friend first because that affects people's lives. Owing a phone bill, owing an electricity bill, still owe it. It's still in my mind. I'm still not thinking about it. £100 to them is 2 weeks worth of shopping to a friend. And that's why I always paid them when friends help me out. So the money bit kind of massively shifted on that. But yeah, my attitude and stuff for my dad was one of the main ones.
Yeah, definitely. Well, look, Kallum, I really do appreciate you sharing that, man. I know there's a lot more.
Quite a lot. Rightfully, I think more people should. It's not as easy. It's not as easy saying that than doing it. But I think more people should.
No. Listen, I absolutely agree with you. I really do. The fact that you share it so openly as well. I mean, anybody listening in right now, and I know myself, you're like, wow, really appreciate you sharing that. The fact that your dad, even in that mental state, still, because he wants the best for you, still encourage you to go to that networking, like you're going no matter what, I think is really heartwarming. And that probably even you not, I guess, being there with him at the time, that probably made him feel a bit better. The fact that you had still gone and done that.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, one of the things that came from that was the following day. There's a point to this. I think that also showed my dad, me running a business, want a little thing. I wasn't just this young lad anymore. The following day, I went to his workplace and actually sat down with his HR person, demanded a meeting, and knew exactly what I was saying. Because he'd never seen the business aspect of me or the fact that I'd become such a gentleman or a man to go and do it. But then also for myself, I think that was where I've learned a lot in business by that point, even in 2 years, or grown so quickly that I was confident enough to go sit down with a HR person and knew I was talking about safeguarding, talk about this, talking about that, like saying all these things and knowing that. And then coming home and telling him I've just done it, he was like, right. I was like, Dad, I might be in my early 20s at this point. I was like, but I run a business now. I'm not taking any shit. I'm too fucking busy. You're busy. Let's not do it. So that was also one of the things since then that I think for him, realized that I was a man, I was an adult. Also, I ran this business. So yeah, that was one of the things as well.
That's powerful though. The fact that, you know, he had felt that from you and then you had actually gone out your way, did that. And then he felt that comfort, felt
Honestly,
that love,
I was going to set the world on fire, as anyone could probably, no one wanted to mess with me that day. I was going to set the world on fire. But no, so yeah, honestly, long story short, that probably one of the pivotal things. There's probably a couple of other bits as well, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah. Well, no, listen, that's one hell of a share, let me tell you.
Oh, trust me, there's about 4 more on top of that I could probably throw in, and you'd be like, how are you still running a business? And like, when you go through it, it's like, how, why, what? Like, how have you not flown to another country to escape everything?
I know.
Like, it's kind of that point, like, yeah.
Yeah, no.
What? Stolen, dad's mental health. There's probably a couple of other bits on there as well, so yeah.
Yeah, but that's why I asked you the question, like, what had stopped you from not giving up? Because when you actually look at it and pick it out like that, people would be going, I would never have continued, Kallum. Like, I would be out of business. I would have just gone, like you say, gone back to my job and just done that. I don't think I could go through that.
Yeah. One of the things I guess that comes from it is, I can't change it. So what have I got to lose? I can't change what's happened with the money or with my dad or the other things I've got. I can't change any of it. But if I quit it, I know what's going to happen. If I don't quit it, I don't know. That is honestly one of the closest things I can do to it. After all this, I could quit right now. Now I'm going to a 9 to 5. I get X amount of holiday days a year. I'm on a guaranteed salary. I live in my home city that I'll never escape because I never went to university in another city. Actually, if I don't quit this right now, this is all shit. But actually, what could it be like if my life got better, my income got better, my lifestyle got better? What could all that look like if it comes round again? My dad got diagnosed with being bipolar. He could have another episode. But actually, if I'm in a financially better place, my own house, whatever else, I can move him in with me. I can pay for him. He can quit his job.
Right.
Like, I'm currently paying parents' mortgages. I'm currently doing this. I'm currently doing that. So, like, my mum's heavily disabled. I'm helping her out. If I quit, I wouldn't be able to do that.
This is good. No, you're absolutely right. And I think what I just really liked what you said as well, by the way, just putting it out there, is that you said that if I was to quit, I know what would happen. But if I wasn't to quit, I don't know. But you wanted to
Cape Town for 2 weeks working from my laptop at the bottom of Table Mountain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where else would I been? On the East Coast in Bridlington. I don't know what else really would have happened, if I'm honest.
No, but that's a reward and fulfillment for you, though, after all this tough period that you've been through. The fact that you've kept on going, and now that you have more of that ability and freedom to do that. And I want to get onto the piece now, because I really do believe this has come from you as a person, like your true self and your experiences, is this brand new community that you're building, which is called Roundtable. So, and do you know what? I've taken this from you, by the way. So I'm not saying I've stolen it from you, but I have taken this piece where you have spoken about community, not outwashing networking, but community being a new way of networking, in a way, like more people, collaborative. So yeah, just for the listeners listening in to what it is that you're creating, what made you, I know it was going back 2 years, but what made you decide on building Roundtable?
Yes, I started it in March 2022. So it's more publicly new, which is what I know we've talked about that a lot. So I never talked about it. It was never promoted online. We never had a website. We never had anything. Long story short, before I moved to Manchester, because when I was in Hull, I just rebranded as TUGA. That was probably another element from what I was before. And I had loads of cool people around me from networking, which is where I met them. So I originally was building a networking thing. And I went, hey guys, how would you all feel about if we got on a Zoom call every 2 weeks to just talk shit, how business is going, help one another, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, great, all did it. Most of them are still in it. Some of them outgrew it, sold the businesses, done whatever, right? There was no intent in just getting people together. And there's something in this, invited other people into it. This is 2022. I moved to Manchester in June 2022. Then it got to October, went to Ellis's event, and I saw all these younger people. I went, wait, these are the people I need to be around. So at this point, Roundtable had 14 people in it. Everyone woke up one morning with 7 people being kicked out of it. With an email from me being, you might not like this. I'm really sorry if it changes your opinion of me. That's fine, but I need to do this for me. I need to do it for the people I want in there. Went back to the original 6 plus me, so 7 people. I started inviting these other people from October 2022, and I grew it. Up until March this year, where we got to 32 members. Each person was handpicked, invited, and so forth. And what made me realize we had something, we went to Saffron Sumner's gala, charity gala. A few of us went, and we were saying the word Roundtable there, and two people went, "What is Roundtable? You all keep talking about, what is it?" I was like, okay, and everyone went talk to him, he'll explain. Both them people are now members. But it made me realize, okay, I've got something here. And then fast forward to over summer, I worked on it over 3 months. We've now got a website, we've now got a brand, we've now got sponsors, we've got an official app. I like to clarify, it's actually going on the App Store in January. Anything like that. And just from putting some work into it and having members invested in it, I've told them all the roadmap, they all know what's going to happen and all things like that. So that's what it was and what it became. But the full point of it started as a network thing. The reason I moved to a community aspect of it is the epitome of if you go to the phrase network equals net worth. Whereas if you go to what we are as people and as a species, we're built by tribes, we're built by community. And a community, if you look at it, it's about helping each other in it. It's about making everyone better. It's about bringing everyone up. It's about helping one another with no expected return. It's not a transactional thing. And networking, not always, but traditionally is a transactional relationship. Yeah. That's what networking is. Transactional, whether it's, I've got contacts, you've got contacts, let's swap them. I've got this event, you've got that. Networking is transactional, no matter how molecularly look at it. Community is about helping one another. That's what communities are. Look at community centres, look at everything. That's why I made a community. And I think a good community, whether it's my own, other people's, some great ones out there, the only good ones and successful ones are the ones that have that element. So that's why we brought it in, that everyone's a mentor, everyone's a mentee. So no one's the smartest person in the room. Everyone's there to educate everyone. Everyone's there to learn from everyone. Everyone's there to give something and everyone's there to take something. The give and take, I always imagine a bit like if you was doing a potluck dinner. You all bring something, but then you all take a plate home afterwards, right?
Yes.
So it's kind of like that. That's a good analogy. I've kind of always said that, but I've never said it out loud.
Really good.
Yeah, it was good, that. I like that. So that's Roundtable in a nutshell, but I always did it to just have the best people around me, but Roundtable has never been about me, it's been about everyone. So when I grew it, I asked everyone what they wanted, what did they want to change, what did they do this. I messed up a lot when I leveled it up. There was so many damn type forms, there was so many whatever, but trying to level something up when it wasn't brand new and not just level it up, I was basically rebuilding the damn thing. Be blessed that every member kept on board with it. They all helped me. Yeah. So there you go. Very long-winded answer to what you asked me, but yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah, because the passion's there, like you want to help people. And I think another thing that I've taken from that, which I think most people are scared of, and I'll hold my hands up, and when I first started out in business, is feedback. You constantly ask people what they thought, where it would go. It was a collective. I know, but you say this as, obviously this is part of you. This is ingrained in you. I'm not saying you've always had this, but a lot of people.
I get that people find it hard. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I just want the guys who's listening to pick up these points that we're voicing out, because this is where I feel these could be just tiny shifts. I'm talking 1% shifts that could really help them.
The best advice with feedback is don't do it anonymously. Don't do it anonymously.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Because most people would probably say,
no, take it on the chin. Feedback's always a good thing. Even if it's shit. If it's shit feedback, it's a good thing. Right? And remember, today's news is tomorrow's fish and chip paper. If feedback is on a Google review, just bear that in mind, right? But don't do it anonymously, because you want to find out who are the most brutal, and they're the people you need to ask for feedback in more detail, because they're going to tell you without caring about your feelings.
Yes.
That's why you can't do it anonymously. The ones that go, oh yeah, it's great, loved it. The next was like, yeah, it was all right. Actually, this was a bit shit and I didn't experience that bit. And then you're like, well, if you didn't, they all probably didn't. And you don't want that anonymously. So what I did is, with all them people that was like that, I put them in a focus group. And asked all of them people, every single decision I made, I ran past all of them. Got them on Zoom calls, showed them the roadmap, showed them everything. They're the ones that ripped it apart.
Yeah,
absolutely ripped it apart.
No, but that's smart though. That's really smart. So now then, having shared everything you shared, I'd love to know, because just letting people know as well. This is recorded. Obviously, it'll be coming out like Feb time. It's obviously at the end of the year. What's your plan for 2025?
Great. I've got a counter thing with this, which I will answer with it in a nutshell. So towards the end of 2023, I got asked by a good friend of mine, Lindsay Burden, fabulous woman. She went, if you could describe 2024 with a word by the end of 2024, what would you want that word to be? I've also just done this with all the Roundtable people.
Okay.
I said consistent. Went, okay, why? So if you even got the story I've said on this, so many highs, so many lows. I was like, you've got to have peaks and valleys, because if it's just one line, you're flatlined.
You're boring.
Dead. Nothing's happening.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I want I want ups and downs, but I don't want absolute peaks and I don't want absolute valleys because the difference between them is astronomical. So I want a year of consistent sales, consistent losses, consistent results, consistent highs, consistent lows. I just want a consistent year. That's what I've had. And that's why business has been good this year. Could I have done better? Yes. Am I happy with where it's been? Yes. Right? So to answer your question for that next year, which I asked everyone, my word for next year is push. I've never done outbound sales. I've never really pushed myself. I've never put myself into I've not done it for a long time since business is now established as it is.
Right.
So the end of 2025 for me is busy. That's what next year is. Outbound sales, growing the team. This is TUGA I'm mainly talking about. Doing all that bit pushing service. Roundtable, we want to get to, so the members are broken into groups. I want to get to 4 groups by the end of the year, which is 100 members, and capping that level at 100. And then I want for 2026 to bring in a next tier into Roundtable.
Yeah.
And throughout that is social events. I want to do a retreat. I want to do loads of stuff with it. So next year for me, honestly, to answer your question, the word is just push. Whatever you want to put next to it, push. And that is 2025 for me.
Brilliant. I absolutely love that. And it's a good way to, I mean, we are getting towards the end of this episode, but I do like how you've gone back in reflection as well on what you wanted this year to be. Consistent. I mean, consistency is a massive thing. Which
I could have been more consistent in my personal life.
Right.
Consistent in, so I've not been consistent with perfect peasant's sake too. I've not been consistent with my fitness.
Okay. Yeah.
I've not been. Personal life has not been consistent.
Right.
Business has been. But the bit, just to cut you off with it, is like, consistent doesn't mean always winning.
No,
which
it's
I think
not.
people need to, it's not always winning.
No, like, it's not. It's progress.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's the 1% every day. Do I have days where there's no 1%? Yeah. But then you know what you have to do the next day? Make it 2%.
Yeah.
So if you don't do 1% 3 days in a row, guess what? That day you've got 4% to do. And I learned this in hospitality when I was at culinary school. One of my lecturers taught me, if you're on a team of 4 people, that's 25% of work each. If one person calls in sick or one person in pulling the weight, you've got to still distribute that work amongst each other. So if I can't work hard one day, I've got to push that work to the next day, which means sacrificing my evenings, sacrificing my social life. Is that healthy? No. Is burnout being a founder real? Yeah. Come to terms with it. It's going to happen. I don't encourage it, but it's going to happen. Really don't encourage it. I do want to emphasize that. But the reality is, and you know this, it's going to happen at times. And I think times like that where you're not consistent with yourself, doing the 1%, that's why you're banging yourself out. And then that's where you go, shit, sit down, do that I call it recalibration, like I did with myself. Where am I up to? Where's my projects up to? Where's my sales up to? Where's my content up to? And do all that and just recalibrate yourself. Then go from there. And that's what consistent is.
I agree. I love that because there was something that I'd done myself, which was recalibrating my role. So I do understand where you come from. But what I'd love to know, I mean, obviously we're going to stay in touch anyway, but what I'd love to know is, you know, when you talk about the push, right? I'd love to know by pushing your personal life, like you said, it's not been as consistent as you like to be, like pushing your personal life, such as whether it's going out, socializing, friends, whatever, but also your fitness. I'd love to know what that brings for you in 2025 with your business, because you're so used to pushing the business, but personal life dropped. I wonder how that would look differently for you. I'm just interested.
It'll look good.
Yeah.
I know it will. To the point that I'm doing Christmas over the next few days. So today's the 19th when we're recording this, right?
Yeah.
December. I'm going back home to see my family until 23rd. I'm spending Christmas by myself, choosing to. So then I don't have to do the Christmas food and all that and say, oh, I'll do it after Christmas. I'm getting Christmas out of the way this weekend after just being in South Africa for 2 weeks. And from the 23rd, I'm locked in. That's it. Like Christmas Day, I'm at the gym, going for a run Christmas Day, locked in from the 20th.
What a guy. I'll probably go for a run on Christmas Day, mate. So that's good.
Well, I can only just do about 3K at the minute. So I booked 4 marathons for next year. So I've got to be able to get some, So I've got to be able to get to some, otherwise I'm going to die slightly inside.
Probably, mate. Yeah, that's brilliant.
But no, so the fitness bit, once again, Stephen Bartlett, great quote. The foundation of everything in your life, where career, relationships, everything is on this tectonic plate called your health.
Massively, yeah. Well, listen, I fully get that. But I like this because it's good to hear it coming from somebody that is now growing in business to want to put this at the forefront as well, because obviously it will pay off.
I don't think I could have done it alongside this year.
No.
I don't think I could have.
No, and that's
like,
okay.
Yeah, you could have. Yeah, you could have. I'm like, I really don't think I could have. And just the point with this, what proves it, which is what I'm working on, which is why I'm doing this, random tangent. But I felt guilty being at the gym. Because of how business has been over the last few years, if I go to the gym in the morning, I'm like, I should be working right now, I should be whatever. The only place I switched off is I picked up badminton.
Yeah.
The only reason I think I switched off is because it was social. I didn't have my phone on me while I'm playing and so forth. So what I've learned is I need to mix up my fitness. Just going to the gym is not going to do it for me.
Yeah. This is
So
good.
I'm not breaking any rules going to the gym, but mentally I should be doing something different. But then I'd come back, make some scrambled eggs and then sit on my phone for an hour. Like, where's the logic?
Right.
So that's why next year, which is why I know that it's going to be great, because I'm going to mix it up.
Yeah. This is good though. And
Random tangent, mate. There you go.
No. But you say random tangent, but that's so good. The fact that you're having that bit of space to switch off from work, really take your mind off things. Whereas when you
switch off at the gym,
that's what I mean.
Switch off at the gym, it's a magic power. Do not know how you can switch off at the gym by yourself. Maybe with someone with you. I do not understand how people can switch off at the gym.
Yeah, I have to say it's tough. That's why I've got a mix though now. So I like I say, I do gym, but I do ultra running. That's great for me, mate. Being out in the nature, I can really switch off. Phones away, kind of thing. Sometimes I'm running with people, but then sometimes I do like a functional class where there's no way you can get your phone actually with loads of group of people and you're you're smashing it. So yeah,
so that's why I'm mixing it up with all that stuff next year, because honestly, I don't get how people can switch off. I just don't. Like whether you've got an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or whatever to track fitness, or you want your headphones in. Do you know what I miss? The iPod. Miss the iPod. If I could have an iPod in the gym where I don't need my phone just to listen to music, godsend.
No, I know.
Just an iPod. No internet. iPod would be the godsend of the gym.
I know. I wonder if this is still set.
What a note to go to, mate. What a note to go to.
There you go. So look. Obviously, Kallum, it's been an unreal episode, mate. Really, really powerful. So good. Some of the stuff I just know people are going to be like, gosh, I can take that away. They'll probably be taking notes, or at least wanting to put some notes after this episode. So look, this is a question I ask every guest. I don't know if you've listened to any episodes just yet, but it's one I love to conclude on, and it's to do with the name, obviously, Master Your Life. What does mastering your life mean to you?
Great question. For me, mastering your life is, so I think for me, it ties it to freedoms. So the free freedoms, the nexus of freedoms is location, time, and financial. You don't need to have all three, but understand what freedoms are for you. And by that doesn't just have to be entrepreneurs. So this is purely entrepreneurs. But if you've got people going, I can't leave my job, I can't get into it, I can't do whatever. Even having a 9 to 5 and understanding that. Why are you doing this? What are you doing it for? So you've got family, things like that. For me, I want a family. I don't have any yet. I've got a few years until I'm planning to have one. But for me, I want location freedom. I want to be able to do whatever. And for me, mastering your life, you can do building a life for you and whatever. I think it's what freedom do you want? Because we all have freedoms. People don't realize this. So by freedom, it could be you get the chance to go to a National Trust site on a Sunday, or you get to go for a hike. You got the pleasure to go to the gym at 7 a.m. That's all freedom. If you want all that, that's time freedom. If you want to be able to work anywhere with your 9 to 5 or with your business, you want location freedom. Financial freedom's the hardest one. And you can't have financial freedom without the first two.
Yeah.
So figuring out what freedoms you are is mastering your life.
I mean, I love that. And I haven't heard that one yet. And that's a really good. That's what I'm saying. It's you. It's about you. It's what's unique to you. So, look, if people want to connect with you, where can they find you?
That's a good question. LinkedIn.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
I'm most active on LinkedIn. Coming next year, I've now got head of content and stuff. YouTube will be becoming massive. Instagram will be becoming big. Probably TikTok, but I'm not on it. But just start LinkedIn. Probably the best place for me. And then, go from there.
Brilliant. Well, like I say, mate, we'll put your name in and links in the show notes so people will be able to find you. But look, final thing from me. So thanks for your time and spending time with us.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Thank you so much for tuning in on this episode. If you found this useful and it's provided value to you, if you don't mind, go onto my channel, tap follow, and keep in the loop for more podcast episodes like this. And if you want to go one step further, please leave us a positive review. It would mean the world to us, and it would help spread the message to many more people. And also, if you want to go that one step further again, tag us on socials, drop us a message. I will always respond. Look forward to seeing you on the next one.